One day, a father was sitting in a waiting room, anxiously waiting for his wife, who was giving birth. He was extremely worried and restless, fearing something might go wrong. Suddenly, the operating room door opened, and a nurse came out, looking very upset. The father immediately understood that something bad had happened. He fell to his knees, crying, but the nurse said to him, "Why are you crying? Your son is alive. Your son is fine and healthy." The father was shocked by what she said. He looked up and saw his newborn son being carried out of the operating room, standing on his own 2 feet. The father stood up, walked over to his son, and then fainted, unable to comprehend what was happening. After a while, the child went home. He possessed extraordinary powers and understood everything happening around him. He was annoyed by his parents' overbearing behavior and the family's constant search for a name for him. Eventually, they settled on a name, but he was already fed up with them. Despite being a newborn, he understood everything they said. One day, when his parents were not around, he decided to test his powers and began controlling everything around him. His mother quickly opened the door, and he immediately pretended to be a normal baby again. Years passed, and he grew up. By the age of 6, he was out buying instant noodles, his favorite meal. The city was calm and peaceful at that time, but suddenly, a giant frog attacked, destroying everything in its path. A group of desert warriors who protected the city tried to fight it, but the frog was too powerful and quickly defeated them. Only a few warriors remained, and the strongest among them was Zhao. At that moment, Zhao was circling the frog, looking for an opportunity to kill it. Suddenly, he saw the child walking down the street, opening his bag of noodles, completely unaware of the giant frog. When Zhao saw the child, he quickly rushed to protect him, but the frog noticed and attacked them. Zhao ran to the child and said, "Run back home. Don't worry, I'll protect you." The child stood there, confused and upset about his noodles. The frog, however, didn't stop and was about to kill them. Just as it was about to strike, the child, with a single punch, shattered the frog's skull, sending it flying to the ground. The monster was defeated, and Zhao was shocked by what he had just witnessed. The child's parents were also shocked when they saw what had happened. They finally realized the extent of their son's powers. From that day on, they made it their mission to hide his abilities from the world, fearing someone might exploit him. The child, however, already knew everything, but decided to obey his parents out of respect. 10 years later, the child, now named Wang, grew up and finally went to school. His school was called Class 60, one of the largest schools in the region. As he entered the school, he encountered 2 older students who said to him, "You look weak. We'll protect you." Wang didn't understand what they meant, but thanked them. The 2 students then said, "But protecting someone comes at a cost. You'll have to pay for our services." Wang was shocked, and the students were equally surprised when they realized he was weak and helpless. Suddenly, a fiery energy appeared, sending the 2 students flying. It was Sun Rong, the legendary daughter of the Flower Font family. She said to them, "Shame on you for bullying someone who just arrived. As long as I'm here, I won't let anyone like you harm him." She then descended, and the 2 students, realizing who she was, ran away. Sun Rong approached Wang gently and said, "Don't worry. No matter what happens, I'll be by your side. I won't let anyone bully you again." She extended her hand to greet him, but Wang handed her 10 coins instead and walked away. Sun Rong was left stunned, and everyone around was equally shocked, not understanding why he had done that. Later, all the students gathered in front of a screen where the school's principal, Zhao, explained the entrance exam for the classes. He said, "Each of you will receive a score, and based on that, you'll be placed in the appropriate class. All you have to do is enter the exam room and complete the test." The students agreed, and the first student entered the room. He found himself in a dark, watery place, unsure of what was ahead. Suddenly, a light blinded him, and he fell back. The principal explained, "Your test will be against the remnants of the giant frog's spirit, which is sealed beneath the school. All you have to do is strike it, and Subhi will evaluate your performance." The old man struck the frog with a punch, scoring 404, and was placed in the regular class. One by one, the students entered and received average scores until it was the hero Shin's turn. He struck the frog with all his might, scoring 938, earning him a place in the elite class. Finally, it was the legendary heroine Sun's turn. She entered the arena amidst cheers from the students, gathered her strength, and delivered a powerful blow that moved the frog from its spot, scoring 2019. Subhi and the students were stunned by her strength, and she was also placed in the elite class. Now, only Wang remained, and the students mocked him for looking weak. However, he ignored them and entered the arena. At that moment, the frog's spirit, sealed beneath the school, was absorbing the spiritual energy of the students who struck it, gathering strength to break free. It was almost ready to escape, waiting for the final blow to absorb the last bit of energy. When Wang entered, the frog recognized him as the boy who had defeated it years ago and was terrified, trying to flee. But Wang ran towards it, gathered his strength, and with a single punch, shattered the entire area. The monster was defeated, and the energy meter couldn't even measure Wang's power. The students were shocked, thinking the system had malfunctioned. Subhi approached the frog and found it pretending to be dead, but Wang knew it had escaped with its spirit, and no one knew where it had gone. Subhi then declared that Wang would join the elite class. In class, they were taught how to summon spirits. The teacher brought out the spirit of a fish and explained that each student could summon a spirit based on their strength. Everyone listened intently, ready to practice. Sun, on the other hand, summoned a skeletal dog, stunning everyone with her spiritual energy. Wang, however, sat quietly, not wanting to participate. He was bored and just wanted to go home and eat his noodles. The teacher noticed him and asked him to try. Reluctantly, Wang used the smallest amount of his power and summoned the giant frog. The students panicked and ran out of the classroom. The teacher used Sun's skeletal dog to attack the frog, and the two merged, turning the frog into a real dog. Everyone was happy with the dog, and Wang took the opportunity to leave. The next day was the class president election, and the students were trying to gather support to ensure their victory. Sun, wanting to win, bought all the supplies from the school store and offered them for free, saying, "Take whatever you want, but vote for me." Some students were angry, accusing her of using her family's wealth to bribe them. Sun replied, "It's up to you. If you want to take something and vote for me, go ahead. If not, that's fine too." The students were happy, but still hesitant. Wang then said, "I'll take 5 noodles and vote for you 5 times." Sun agreed, and the students followed his lead, taking everything they wanted. This was exactly what Sun had planned. After they took the gifts, she cast a spell of allure, making anyone with less spiritual energy than her fall under her influence and vote for her willingly. Sun was thrilled and couldn't believe her success, all thanks to Wang. She decided to thank him and found him leaving a small cake as a gift. The cake was something his mother had made to suppress his powers, reducing his spiritual energy to its lowest level. It tasted sweet, but had the effect of weakening anyone who ate it. Wang had given it to Sun to repay her for the noodles, not wanting to take anything from her for free. He didn't think much of it, and left. When he entered the classroom, everyone had the mark of Sun's allure on their heads, except for Wang. Sun was confused, wondering how he had resisted her spell. The teacher then began explaining the skill of allure, the same skill Sun had used to control the students. He said, "In ancient times, there was a great ruler who wanted to appoint someone to a high position, but was always paranoid about betrayal. To solve this, he created the spell of allure. After giving his advisors gifts, he cast the spell on them, ensuring their loyalty. However, for the spell to work completely, the target must not have given a gift in return or have higher spiritual energy than the caster, otherwise, the spell would fail." Wang listened and was relieved that he had given Sun the cake. Sun, however, was still confused by his actions, but thought he might be infatuated with her. Wang, worried she hadn't eaten the cake, gestured to her, and she finally ate it. The effects of the allure spell on the students disappeared as Sun's spiritual energy dropped significantly. Subhi noticed Wang's actions and was impressed. The teacher then called Sun to demonstrate the spell again, but as she walked forward, she tripped over a treasure box and was about to fall. Wang quickly caught her, and the teacher said, "Since she can't stand, why don't you demonstrate instead?" Wang reluctantly cast the spell, and his energy filled the entire room. The teacher was even more impressed, and chose Shin as the class president, replacing Sun. The day ended with everyone happy, but Sun was still confused about what had happened. Later, Subhi called Zhao and said, "As you expected, Wang is incredible. He cancelled Sun's allure spell and mastered it in one try." Zhao replied, "Of course, he's my student." The call ended, and the story continued. Sometime later, the school held a potion-making class. All the students brought their equipment and prepared for the task. Shin brought his family's furnace, wanting to show off in front of Sun. When Sun arrived, she saw Wang and couldn't take her eyes off him, still under the effects of the allure spell. Wang, realizing this, approached her, placed his hand on her head, and removed the spell. Everyone watched in awe, and Wang walked away, saying, "You're fine now." Sun, after Wang left, fell to the ground, her face red with embarrassment. The students then entered the classroom for the potion-making lesson. The teacher explained the process, but it seemed like she was teaching reluctantly. The students began their work, and Shin, thinking it was a competition, fooled around. Sun, on the other hand, was elegant and had brought top-grade equipment to assist her. Wang, however, had brought a thermal furnace, unsure if it would be useful. Among the students was one named Go, who had brought a rare, specialized tool for potion making. The teacher and students were shocked by it, and even the dog was eyeing it. Suddenly, Shin's furnace exploded, and he panicked, saying, "My dad will kill me. This furnace is a family heirloom." The teacher scolded him, and he ran away, upset. The students left their equipment running for 6 hours until the potions were ready. After they left, the dog went to eat Go's rare tool to increase its energy. Wang, however, understood the dog's tricks and followed it. The dog, thinking it had outsmarted Wang, ran away, but Wang caught it, took the tool, and washed it in the bathroom. When he came out, Go confronted him, saying, "What are you doing with my tool?" Wang replied, "I was just returning it to you." Go, however, was angry and threatened to beat Wang. Wang tried to calm him down, but Go wouldn't listen. Meanwhile, Shin was running laps around the field, exhausted. He remembered his father's words, "I'll give you the family furnace, but you must take care of it." He felt guilty for breaking it and thought, "Sun will hate me, and Wang will take everything from me. I won't forgive him." He gathered his strength and went to attack Wang. At the same time, Go fired his gun at Wang, who reacted quickly and dodged the attack. Shin then attacked Wang, but Wang countered, saying, "What's wrong with you? This is deadly poison. If you don't treat it quickly, you'll die." Wang thought the injury wasn't serious and knew how to treat it, but Go didn't give him a chance. Wang finally agreed to help and gathered the necessary ingredients to make the antidote. The teacher would arrive in 2 hours, and it was impossible to finish the antidote in time. However, the dog took advantage of their distraction and went to eat the tool again. Go saw it and attacked the dog, causing it to release a burst of energy that changed the color of the potion. Go then had an idea, and Wang helped him heat the dog to speed up the antidote's preparation. Once the antidote was ready, they tested it on the dog first and saw that it worked. The teacher arrived, and Go ran to her while Wang stayed behind. Go realized that the cake Wang had given him earlier had expired, and he was upset. However, he found a golden cake inside, and its quality was high. He succeeded in the task with flying colors. Go then understood everything and said, "So, Wang gave me his cake to help me succeed. You'll be my friend for life, Wang." The teacher went to Wang and found his cake burned, and he had failed the test. Shin, however, was hiding in his family's furnace, and it was revealed that Wang had taken Go's tool, but left the cake untouched. Go had made the cake himself, and the thermal furnace had nothing to do with it. Wang's cake had simply expired. After the day ended, the students repaired Shin's furnace, and he was overjoyed. The three of them became the closest of friends, and their adventures began. One day, Wang was sitting in class, and Sun was clearly infatuated with him. She approached him and asked him out on a date. Wang, who had never been in such a situation before, didn't know how to respond. Meanwhile, two assassins were on the roof, preparing to kill Sun. They called their boss and said, "The target is in front of us. What should we do?" The boss replied, "Kill her quickly." The two assassins were about to strike, but Wang noticed them, and their plan failed. At the same time, Subhi called Wang to the principal's office. Wang took the opportunity to escape from Sun and followed Subhi. Sun, however, thought Wang had agreed to her request and didn't realize he was just responding to Subhi. The students soon found out that Wang had agreed to go on a date with the famous Sun, and the news spread quickly. Even the assassins knew and decided to take advantage of the situation to kill her. Meanwhile, Wang met with the principal, who said, "You're the boy who defeated the giant frog 10 years ago, right?" Wang didn't respond, and the principal continued, "Everyone thought I was the one who captured it, but no one knew the truth. Please, let me keep this secret." Wang listened, annoyed, and waited for Zhao to finish speaking. Afterward, Wang activated a forgetfulness spell, making the principal forget why he had called him. Wang then left. When Wang returned home, he had nightmares about Sun forcing him to go on a date. He woke up, brushed his teeth, and opened the window to find all the guards and Sun waiting outside his house. He closed the window and went downstairs for breakfast, but Sun had brought an expensive gift for his mother, who forced him to go out with her. Wang wished someone would save him from the situation, but no one came. He stayed with Sun in the car, and as they left, the assassins saw them and made a plan to kill her quickly. Sun took Wang to a private island owned by her family, where there were no other people. She got out of the car and was surrounded by guards. She told them, "Stay away from me today, and don't worry about anything. Wang will stay with me." At the same time, the assassins killed a large group of guards and approached Sun to kill her. Sun had taken Wang to a statue, and they were sitting next to it. The assassins were behind them, and one of them fired a shot at Sun. Wang noticed and quickly deflected the bullet, sending it back at the assassins. Sun didn't notice the bullet and thought Wang was smiling at her. The guard, however, saw everything and was about to speak, but Wang used the forgetfulness spell on him to make him forget. The assassins were also affected by the spell and thought Wang had flown away due to the gun's recoil. They didn't realize Wang had defeated them. Sun continued to walk around with Wang, and the assassins kept trying to kill her, but Wang always managed to stop them, and everyone forgot what had happened. At the end of the day, Sun saw a shadow and said to Wang, "I want to ride it." Wang couldn't believe he was finally free from the assassins and rode with her to relax. The assassins, however, followed them, determined to kill her. Zhao saw them and realized Sun was in danger. Sun and Wang were watching fireworks, and Sun was completely engrossed. Wang tried to get her attention, but the assassins took the opportunity to shoot at them. Sun moved closer to Wang and tried to interrogate the assassins to find out who had sent them. She discovered that the Shadow faction was behind the attack and became terrified for her beloved. She stood in front of the assassins, crying, and said, "Kill me, but don't hurt him. He has nothing to do with this." The assassins laughed at her and were about to strike when Wang's eyes turned red. He became furious and punched one of the assassins, sending the other flying. Sun saw the scene and couldn't believe her eyes. The assassin who was flying through the air was hit by a burst of fire and was completely destroyed. Zhao, after seeing the scene, confirmed Wang's power and realized he was the same boy who had defeated the giant frog years ago. Sun, after seeing Wang's strength, was deeply impressed. Wang, however, didn't want to erase her memories this time and asked her to keep everything that had happened a secret between them. Sun was overjoyed and extremely happy. When the boss of the Shadow faction found out about the failed assassination attempt, she became furious. She grabbed the person responsible for the mission and said, "We, the Shadow faction, have never failed an assassination before, but this time something unexpected happened. That girl must die." She then issued the Shadow Order, a command that, once given, was impossible to escape. The next day, Sun went to school, where a bug was monitoring her, tracking her every move so the assassins could act. Sun saw Wang and ran to him, saying, "Where have you been? Have you forgotten about me?" Wang's friends were also there and asked, "What did we do to have all these guards surrounding us?" Zhao then intervened and said, "This is because of the Shadow Order. After their failure yesterday, the Shadow faction decided to issue the order, and now we must all work together to protect Sun, or she won't survive tomorrow." Everyone was terrified, and Sun herself was scared, but Zhao reassured her, saying, "Don't worry, I've prepared for everything. No one will be able to reach you here. I've brought the highest level guards into the school, and even in the small hallways, there are top-tier guards. Even if a tank tried to pass, it would be destroyed in seconds." The students were relieved. However, the first assassin has already bypassed the first line of guards by digging a tunnel underground. He killed some of the guards, and now the second assassin, a powerful poison sorcerer, has taken out the elite guards in seconds and is approaching Sun's room. Subhi was waiting for the assassin and engaged him in combat. Subhi had the advantage, breaking the assassin's weapons, but the assassin managed to throw a poison bomb and ran towards Sun's room. Meanwhile, Wang had gone outside to pick up his instant noodles. The assassin was about to enter Sun's room, and boom! "Sorry, I'm in a hurry," he said. Subhi caught him as well, and the first assassin was defeated. On the roof, another assassin was using a magical weapon and the skill of invisibility to gather strength and break the barrier Zhao had set up, planning to kill Sun. At the same time, Wang was on the roof to get his noodles and saw the assassin passing by. He casually said, "Hey, what's up?" The assassin was shocked, thinking, "How can he see me? He must be talking to himself." Wang picked up his noodles and returned, standing next to the assassin. He said, "By the way, I was talking to you. I already took out your first buddy earlier. My dog will take care of the second one, so what are you going to do now?" The assassin became furious and gathered all his magical power, saying, "I'll show you." He struck Wang with a massive explosion, but the only thing that got destroyed was his hammer. Wang, however, defeated him without even trying. The dog had also taken care of the second assassin, absorbing his spirit. With all three assassins defeated, Zhao was overjoyed and ran to Wang to praise him, but Wang used his power to make Zhao forget everything, saying, "You're the one who defeated the assassin, not me." The students also came to the roof to check on Wang and saw the scene. Wang pretended to be injured, and Sun, heartbroken, quickly treated him. A few days later, Wang was in his room, surrounded by the latest healing equipment, even though he was perfectly fine. He just wanted to stay away from people and relax. His mother then entered and said, "Enough of this. When your friends come, tell them you'll go out with them in 2 days, so they won't worry." Sure enough, Sun, Go, and Shin arrived at Wang's house with gifts and flowers to check on him. Sun was clearly worried about Wang and tried to get closer to his mother by giving her many gifts, saying, "Don't worry, I'll take care of him when you're not around." Wang's mother accepted the gifts and left, leaving the kids alone. Wang continued his act, not wanting to move until Sun said, "I brought this injection that will make you feel better in seconds. Don't worry, I'll give it to you right here." Wang was terrified and thought, "Please, have mercy on me." Sun, however, was determined and was about to give him the injection when Wang quickly ran away, took this bracelet from Shin, and said, "I'm fine now. I'll go to school with you tomorrow." The kids were happy, but Shin used his power to summon a crystal from his magic. This was a test done in all schools to measure the students' strength and rank them. Shin scored 600, which was decent. Go then tried and scored only 65, making him upset. He ran to the window pretending to commit suicide, but Shin stopped him, saying, "Stay with us. Let's laugh at you a bit." Go agreed. Meanwhile, at another school called Class 59, a prestigious school with many elite students, their leader Tang measured his energy in front of everyone and scored 4,379, making him the top-ranked student in the country. The entire school celebrated his achievement. At the same time, Sun prepared herself to measure her energy and scored 4,015, ranking her second in the school and in the top 10 of the region. Class 59 was annoyed by her closeness to their leader. The students then asked Wang to measure his energy, but he refused, claiming he was tired. However, after seeing the injection, he agreed. He reduced his spiritual energy as much as possible, but when he struck, a fiery energy erupted, overwhelming the entire area. The system couldn't measure his energy, and everyone was shocked. Wang was declared the top student, surpassing both Tang and Sun. Tang, after finding out, was shocked and thought someone had hacked the system to humiliate him. He waited until all the students left and then called his assistant to hack the system and remove Wang from the top spot. At the same time, Wang brought Go to hack the system as well, to lower his score and avoid attention. Both succeeded in hacking the system, but Go made a mistake and the alarm went off. They barely escaped without making any changes. Wang thought, "I should have waited. It would have changed on its own." Meanwhile, Class 59 was targeting Wang and Sun, humiliating them in the upcoming top students exam. After some time, the national school exams finally arrived, and the event was huge, gathering all the top students in the country. At the same time, the teacher was discussing the tournament with Subhi, saying, "We have 2 students in the top 10 this year. Sun's talent is understandable, but how did Wang get first place? There must be something wrong." Subhi replied, "Yes, he doesn't seem skilled, but there's more to him. Zhao knows everything." The days passed, and the tournament date approached. The media and advertisements were discussing it, and they went to Class 59's school to talk to their star student, Tang. They asked him about his school's intentions for the tournament and what they would showcase. Tang then demonstrated his skills, controlling spirits and swords, but the host mocked him for not being first place. Tang became annoyed and said, "Class 59 has always been first in this tournament and will be first again this year." The host then said, "But aren't you afraid of Wang? What if he humiliates you?" Tang became angry and said, "We'll see in the tournament," before leaving the stage, clearly planning something. Meanwhile, at Class 60's school, the 3 teachers were discussing and choosing the 5 students who would participate in the tournament. Subhi and Zhao had already decided that Wang and his 3 friends would participate, but the school had objections, saying Wang was too weak and had gotten his score by luck. Zhao then convinced the school to agree, and they did. However, they still needed 1 more student, and they were unsure who to choose. They then saw the dog standing in front of them and said, "Yes, it's a dog, but the tests are based on spiritual energy and intelligence, not the type of being." The dog took the test and scored 5,000, ranking second, even above Wang. The students were shocked, and the dog became the second-ranked student. Meanwhile, Go was upset and decided to take revenge on Class 60. He went to his school's principal and said, "I know the person I'm bringing might cause problems, but I don't care. Class 60 must lose in the tournament." The principal, aware of the danger of the person Go was bringing, agreed due to some issues with the rival school. Go then brought a dangerous criminal from prison, a ruthless man who would attack anyone he encountered. Subhi informed the 5 chosen students about what was going to happen and told them they needed a spiritual sword to participate. The students agreed and brought their swords, preparing for the tournament. Wang, however, didn't want to participate, but decided to go with his friends out of solidarity. He planned to pretend to be sick the next day and leave. He went home to ask his father about the sword and where it was hidden. His parents were watching the news about the failed Shadow Order attempt to kill Sun. Wang found the sword in an old box, and when he opened it, the sword glowed. The sword had a human-like form and was described as one of the most powerful swords, but Wang didn't pay much attention to it.